Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we'll be covering and studying in Srimad Bhagavatam the glorious pastimes of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva's appearance and looking at some of the characteristics of his very dear devotee Prahlad Maharaj. So let's start with little Kirtan. Please join us, and then we'll be studying Srimad Bhagavatam and then discussing some of the great characteristics of Prahlad Maharaj and how merciful Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is and how merciful Srila Prabhupada is in our life. He is full of compassion, who has delivered the transcendental knowledge all around the world tirelessly. And then we will be ending with prayers to Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva again. Hare Krishna. Please join us. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udiriyet
Tato Jayamudire
Shaktam Swakatha Krishna
Shotam Sakatha Krishna
punya shravana kirtanaha
पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तन
hridayantasto bhadrani
हृदयन्तस्थ भद्राणि
vidunoti suhasatam
विदुनोति सहस्रताम्
nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
nityam bhagavata sevaya
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
bhagavate uttam shloke
भगवतीरुत्तम श्लोके
bhaktir bhavati naistiki.
भक्तिर्भक्ति नैष्ठिकी
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा
So please join us. We'll be reading from Śrīmad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 9, Text 8. So during our study today, we'll be also preparing ourselves for the Nṛsiṁha Chaturdaśī, Śrī Nṛsiṁha Chaturdaśī. Please join us and recite after me. Śrīmad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 9, Text 8. Śrī Prahlāduvaca.
श्री प्रह्लादुवाच
Hare Krishna. Brahmadayah suragana munayo ata siddhaha
ब्रह्मदया सुरगणा मनयोऽथ सिद्धा
satvekatan gatayo vachasam pavahe
सत्वकतान गतयो वचसाम परवाहै
naraditum purgune adhunapi pipruhu
नाराधितुं पुर्गुणैरधुनापि पिप्रु
किम तोष्टुम अर्हति समे हरिरुग्रजातेः
किं तोष्टुम् अर्हति समे हरिरुग्रजाते
Please repeat.
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
Śrī Prahlāduvaca.
ब्रह्मादय सुरगणा मुनयो अथ सिद्धा
Brahmadayah suragana muniyo atha siddhaha
सत्वैकतान गतयो वचसां प्रवाहै
satvekatan gatayo vachasam pravahe
नाराधितुं पुरुगुणर्धुनापि पिप्रु
नाराधितुम पुरुगणे अधुनापि पिप्रुः
किं तोष्टुम् अर्हति समे हरिर उग्रजाते
किम तोष्टुम अर्हति समे हरिरुग्रजातेः Shri Prahlāduvaca.
श्री प्रह्लाद उवाच
Prahlād Maharaj prayed,
प्रह्लाद महाराज prayed
Brahma Adayah,
ब्रह्म आदय
headed by Lord Brahma,
headed by Lord Brahma
Suragana,
Surgana
the inhabitants of the upper planetary systems,
the inhabitants of upper planetary systems
Munyaha,
Munaya
the great saintly persons,
the great saintly persons
Atha,
Ata
as well like the four Kumaras and others,
like four Kumaras and others
Siddhaha,
Siddha
who have attained perfection or full knowledge,
who have attained perfection or full knowledge
Sattva,
Sattva
to spiritual existence,
to spiritual existence
Ekatana Gatayah,
Ekatan Gataya
Ekatan, who have taken without diversion to any material activities,
who have taken without diversion to any material activities
Vachasam,
Vachasam
of descriptions or words,
of descriptions or words
Pravahe,
Pravahe
by streams,
by streams
Na,
Na
not,
not
Aradhitum,
Aradhitum
to satisfy,
to satisfy
Puru Gunahe,
Purugune
although fully qualified,
although fully qualified
Adhuna,
Adhuna
until now,
until now
Api,
Api
even, Pipruhu
Pipru
were able,
were able
Kim,
Kim
whether,
Veda
Toshtum,
Toshtum
to become pleased,
to become pleased.
Arhati,
Arhati
is able,
is able.
Saha,
Sa
he the Lord,
He the Lord.
me,
May
my,
my
Harihi,
Harihi,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Ugra Jatehe,
Ugra Jate,
who am born in an Asuric family.
who am born in an Asuric family.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prahlad Maharaj prayed, how is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of Asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words, although such persons are very qualified, being in the mode of goodness. Then what is to be said of me? I am not at all qualified. Purport: a Vaishnava who is fully qualified to serve the Lord still thinks himself extremely low while offering prayers to the Lord. For example, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, Jagai vadai hete munisa papshtha puri shera kita hete munisa lagishta. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 5.205. Thus he considers himself unqualified, lower than the worm-sin stool and more sinful than Jagai and Madhai. A pure Vaishnava actually thinks of himself in this way. Similarly, although Prahlad Maharaj was a pure, exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most qualified to offer prayers, most unqualified to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. Mahajano yena gataha sa pantha. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of his Vaishnava qualifications. Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore instructed us, Tranadapi Shunichena Tarorapi Sahishtuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadaharihi. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pisthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatayine Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatalham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj, who is one of the Mahajanas, is showing his humility and the tolerance. How did he show tolerance? That his father was trying to kill him, yet he did not oppose. He did not try to defend his position. So he completely relied, he was actually as a son, he was thinking that his father is just playing with him. And he was constantly meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart. So by remembrance, he attains perfection. So of the 9 processes, like we discussed yesterday, the third one is remembrance. So Prahlad Maharaj attains perfection by remembrance because he is constantly absorbed in remembering the Lord. So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Man mana bhav mad bhakto. So always think of me, become my devotee. So Prahlad Maharaj is instructing us how to constantly think of Lord, how to engage our mind constantly on his lotus feet and constantly thinking of him. We can continue our devotional journey, our spiritual journey, by lovingly serving the Lord, right? And it is with humility. So Prahlad Maharaj's qualities, Srila Prabhupada described in various purports that he was very gentle in his nature. He was very humble. He was very soft-spoken. Sometimes people think that soft-spoken people are weak, but at the same time that is humility. Humility doesn't mean they become carpet and people walk on them. Humility just means that they consider themselves even lower than the grass on the street. And be more tolerant than the tree. And Prahlad Maharaj is teaching us how to be tolerant. If someone else was attacking him, he would have, been not so surprised. But this is very surprising for we devotees, that this is a father who is trying to kill his own son, Hiranyakashipu, who is father of Prahlad Maharaj, is trying to kill Prahlad just because Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So he is angry with his own son, and he uses various ways to kill Prahlad Maharaj. What are some of the ways he tried to kill Prahlad Maharaj? He had Prahlad Maharaj thrown from the cliff, right? And so he hoping that Prahlad Maharaj will fall and will die. He even had mad elephants try to trump over. So again, Prahlad Maharaj, but that didn't work. When the elephant saw Prahlad Maharaj, paid obeisances. He had Prahlad Maharaj surrounded with poisonous snakes, and still he was not killed. He had his sister Holika come and carry Prahlad Maharaj in a lap and go onto the fire. So hoping that the fire will burn Prahlad Maharaj. And Holika had this, the cloth that she would wear, because of which she had this boon from Lord Brahma that she would not be burned. But it was Holika who gets burned, and Prahlad Maharaj, it comes out unharmed. And of all of these, the most amazing is that Hiranyakashipu forced his wife, Kayadu, to serve poison to his son, Prahlad Maharaj. And he's so gentle, understanding the situation of his mother, who's crying when she is handing over this, ball of poison to Prahlad Maharaj. He simply drinks it and turns it into nectar, just by the mercy of the Lord. So he doesn't die, and Hiranyakashipu has sent him with the soldiers, and they are trying to kill him with various weapons. And still, none of the weapons are able to affect Prahlad Maharaj. So Hiranyakashipu is angry. How is it possible? And this anger is also because of the fear. He is fearing that his son, where is he getting all these powers from? Hiranyakashipu performed, great austerity for 100 celestial years. And then he was able to get this boon from Lord Brahma, which actually makes him almost immortal. Why is it? Because when he asked Lord Brahma that make me immortal, Lord Brahma said, even I'm not immortal, how can I make you immortal? And then Hiranyakashipu, using his intelligence, he was very intelligent, so he used the term so that it creates a situation that he would not die. He basically put forth many situations in which his death should not occur. Like he should not die in day or night. He said that he should not die by astra or shastra, means the weapons that are held by the hand when they are attacking, or the weapons they are thrown to attack someone. He would always be victorious on the battlefield. He would not die inside the house or outside the house. He will not die on land, on air, or in water. So he is putting all these conditions that he will not die by any animal, he will not die by any human being, by any yaksha, gandharva, and so forth. He is listing all these varieties of human beings as well. He will not die by the hands of the demigods. And on top of that, he is putting all these conditions and he is able to get this boon. And here, after getting all this boon and he has become so powerful, he also gets the siddhis from Lord Brahma. So becoming so powerful, he is fearful and angry at the same time. And so he calls Prahlad Maharaj. So two styles have already happened previously. First time when he had, his son come to him, Prahlad Maharaj come to him first time from Gurukul, he has said, "Oh my dear son, what have you learned?" And Prahlad Maharaj simply said that one should control the mind. And that statement was shocking. But at that time, Hiranyakashipu just thought that, my son, he's just 5-year-old boy. He might have just heard it from other kids, so he's just speaking like that. So he was not that serious. He took it like a child's talk, like small kids, they talk whatever that comes to their mind. Second time, when Prahlad Maharaj came to him, nicely dressed and so forth, when Shukracharya's sons, they brought him, and he asked, "My dear Prahlad, what have you learned?" And that time Prahlad Maharaj listed the 9 processes of devotional service. And that is to be performed in serving Lord Vishnu. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam, Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. So he is narrating the 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam is listening, Kirtanam is glorifying by one's lips, and Smaranam is remembering the Lord constantly, Padasevanam serving the lotus feet of the Lord, Archanam is performing the worship of the Lord, the Archvigraha form, and then Dasyam or Vandanam is by singing glories of the Lord. So again, Kirtanam and Vandanam, they seem to be similar in characteristic. However, Vandanam has mood in which, like Acharya's songs, they are in a specific mood, so that's Vandanam. Akrura sings with a specific mood, so that's Vandanam. And then Dasyam, serving the Lord and Lord's devotees. He becomes more pleased when he serves Lord devotees, the pure Vaishnavas. And then comes being friend to the Lord. So there's Sakhyam. In a friendly manner, one is associating with the Lord, just like Arjun did. And finally it's Atma Nivedanam, surrendering everything to Lord, for His pleasure. Oneself and everything one possesses. Aham mameti. So these two words have great significance. Aham leads to envy. I am so and so. So we are in this material world and we have this body given to us by material world, but by the grace of the Lord. Human birth is very rare. Out of 8.4 million species, after a long journey, Brahmar Vamite Kone Bhagavana Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasadipaya Bhakti Lata Bija. So that's the glorification. That we are wandering in this material world like a Ferris wheel. Going up to higher planetary systems, coming down to lower planetary systems and so forth. And in the middle is Earth. And finally we get this human form of life. And that is, this life as a human form is even more glorious than the demigods. Why? Because as human form of life, we have an opportunity to engage in loving service of the Lord. In the position of a demigod, the senses are able to enjoy thousands of times more than human form. And they have the facilities also thousands of times. So when there are too many distractions, attraction to Lord becomes little rare. And we hear in Śrīmad Bhagavatam so many times, even the king of the heaven, Indra, gets bewildered and he commits offenses, he commits sins. And we learn that even at a great position like that of the king of the demigods, king of the heavenly planets, one can get bewildered by this material energy. So that's why Srila Prabhupada explained that human form of life is a boon, a rare boon that we get. And in this life as human beings, we have a great opportunity to study the scriptures, to take shelter of a spiritual master and to chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in this Canto 7 of Śrīmad Bhagavatam. It is so nicely described that when Hiranyakashipu, he was so angry with Prahlad. In the 7th chapter is when the second incident happens. So 2 strikes have already happened. And then he calls Prahlad Maharaj and he says, where do you get all this power that you have? That none of these weapons, no one is able to harm you at all, not a scratch on your body. So Prahlad Maharaj very gently, he is saying, oh my dear father, I am getting my energies from the same source where you are getting yours. And Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paurusha Nishu, I am the ability in man. So all the abilities that Hiranyakashipu has received is coming from Lord Krishna. Lord Brahma just happens to be the mediator. He happens to be the instrument to pass it to Hiranyakashipu. So Prahlad Maharaj is telling the truth. And Hiranyakashipu, earlier we heard, was looking for Lord Vishnu to kill, right? So what happened was his brother Hiranyaksh was killed by Varahadev. When Hiranyakashipu heard that his brother has been killed, and it has been killed in the boar form, he got upset, very upset. Yet, he, being a very intelligent diplomat, he first focused on pacifying his sister-in-law and his nephews, and his mother Diti. So, Indra is also son of Kashyapa Muni, but was born of Aditi. And Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh are the sons of Diti. Again, the father is same father, Kashyapa Muni. So that's why the sons of Ditis are called Daityas. The descendants in the line of Diti are called Daityas. So even Bali Maharaj, who is son of Virochana, who is son of Prahlad Maharaj, he is called Daitya Raj Bali Maharaj because they are all in the descendant line of Diti. So here we see that even from the mother side, a dynasty is recognized. The descendants are recognized in this manner. So Hiranyakashipu is pacifying his sister-in-law and his nephews and his mother Diti, who are lamenting, who are feeling sorrow, and they are feeling so sad that they are not able to come out from this news that Hiranyaksh has been killed by Lord Vishnu in the form of Varahadev. And when Hiranyaksh got this boon from Lord Brahma, he named all the animals, but he ignored to name Varaha as the animal, that he will not be killed. So Lord Vishnu took that form of Varahadev, the boar form, and killed Hiranyaksh. So when Hiranyakashipu is specifying, he is speaking Siddhanta from the Vedas. That's the interesting aspect. He was a highly intelligent person. And when he is singing, he is narrating a story that once there was a king on the battlefield and he died, and when his wives, the queens, came, they were holding on to the body of the king and realizing that if proper time, within the proper duration, if the body is not cremated or burned properly with the ritualistic ceremonies, all the ritual rites are not performed, then that king would have to suffer, his soul will have to suffer. So at that time, taking compassion on the king, Yamraj appears. But how does he appear? He appears in a young boy form, as a Brahmin boy. And there he is speaking Siddhanta. So there is a story within the story within the story. So how is this story going? Sutta Goswami at Namasharanya is telling Śrīmad Bhagavatam to the sages. And he is talking about Shukdev Goswami saying reciting Śrīmad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And when Shukdev Goswami is speaking this narration, he is referring to a lesson where, in this particular canto early on, when Shishupal was killed. And at that time, everyone saw in the Rasuya, after the Rasuya, when Krishna was worshipped, at that time, Shishupal, he crossed his limit of 100 times he can, say bad words or blaspheme Lord Krishna. So the moment he crosses that, Lord Krishna invokes his Sudarshan Chakra, and Sudarshan Chakra, cuts off his head. So his soul comes out and is glowing, and it merges into Lord Krishna. And finally, of course, it takes into the Sarupya form. And so at that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj is surprised. And he is asking Devashi Narad, how could Lord be partial? This was a great demon. He always blasphemed Lord Krishna. And how could he attain liberation? He could not understand. At that time, Devashi Narad said that Shishupal was constantly thinking of Krishna when he was cursing Krishna with various words. And the same words are used by Saraswati to glorify Krishna. Like the word Naradhama, when Jarasandha calls Krishna Naradhama, the most fallen, Goddess Saraswati uses the same word to mean that in front of Lord Krishna, everyone is fallen. So she is glorifying with the same words as someone is blaspheming or cursing Lord Krishna. So here, Devashi Narad explains to Yudhishthira Maharaj that Shishupal was constantly thinking of Lord Krishna. And he expresses this desire that if he could do that, that would be so wonderful. So again, that is another place we see that Sage Narad is expressing in humility and is glorifying Shishupal's ability to constantly remember Lord Krishna. So he is also saying Manma, always thinking of Lord Krishna. And because Shishupal was always thinking of Lord Krishna, he is able to attain perfection. Now, in the previous life, who was Shishupal? So Shishupal happens to be, there are three birds as demons of Jai and Vijay. These are the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. So there are 7 gates, and on the 7th gate they are staying. And when the Chatur Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras, they approach, having smelled this, getting this fragrance of Tulsi, they are going after this fragrance. So at that particular point, they were Brahmavadis. They thought that Brahma is all in all. So they are attracted by the smell of Tulsi and they are going and they go to the spiritual planets. They have crossed 6 doors. And as they are about to cross the 7th door, Jai Vijay immediately stopped them. Why? Because what Jai Vijay see, there are 4 boys. They are about 5 years of age. They are naked with Janeyu around them. And they are just going on. And they wondered who are these personalities. So they immediately stopped the 4 Kumaras. And when the 4 Kumaras are stopped, they immediately cursed that these 2 personalities, the gatekeepers, seem to be too proud of their position. And they don't belong in Vaikuntha. We don't want such proud and envious people in Vaikuntha. They should suffer on earth. So when they are given this curse that they will have to suffer on earth, at that time they realize that these are great personalities. They are asking for forgiveness, and at that time Padmanabh Vishnu appears. He comes immediately to the gate, 7th gate. When Lord comes to the 7th gate, at that time the 4 Kumaras, they are glorifying the Lord. So again in other chapters, it's very nicely given how they are glorifying Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, Padmanabh Vishnu, who is appearing there with Goddess of Fortune. And he is saying that yes, you have given them, punished them sufficiently, and I sanction this punishment. Now it is said that Lord Krishna, he serves many purposes by his one action. Now here there are at least 3 purposes can be seen very clearly. First is that Jai Vijay, they were very proud of themselves and they had seen the glories of Lord Vishnu fighting with the demons. And having heard all these glories, they had this desire to fight with Lord. But in Vaikuntha planet, you are worshipping Lord Vishnu with awe and reverence. So there is no way you can fight with him there. So now they have to come to a place where they have the opportunity to fight. So they come to planet Earth, and this is where they take birth as Asuras. And born as Asuras, they get the opportunity. But at the same time, Lord actually gives them choice. He says either you can take 3 births as Asuras or 7 births as devotees. And they are praying to the Lord, please don't let us forget you when we are taking this birth in the mortal world. And at that time, that is the boon given. And given the choice, they select to take 3 lives as demons. Now, they are in their spiritual body when they are making this decision, which means that they are teaching us that birth, death, old age, disease, they are very painful experiences. And it is better to take less number of births and deaths in this mortal world than more. And at the same time, their Lord is satisfying their desire to fight with him. Goddess of Fortune had made a complaint earlier to Padmanabha Vishnu. Once she had gone to please some of her devotees. When she came back, at that time Lord Vishnu was sleeping on Anantashesh. And as she was about to enter, these two doorkeepers stopped her. They said, "You cannot enter because Lord is sleeping, you will disturb him." And so later on, when she came and saw Lord Padmanabha Vishnu, she complained about these two doorkeepers. She said that they stopped me. How dare you, must punish them. So now with this, that they have to take birth in the mortal world, she is also satisfied. The Kumaras are also satisfied, but there was the third purpose that was again served was that the four Kumaras were Brahmanvadi. They had not yet developed the love of God, they had not realized that it is from the Lord that the Brahman effulgence comes. So when they see Lord Padmanabha Vishnu, they smell the tulsi and they are enlightened. Yet by being stopped on the seventh gate, they were not able to enter Vaikuntha. Because once you enter Vaikuntha, nobody can ask you to leave. So it was by the arrangement of the Lord that all these three main reasons why this particular curse happened, how the four Kumaras were stopped, and how Jai Vijay, the doorkeepers, appeared as Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu in their first birth as the sons of Diti, so they are also called Daityas. Second birth as Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and they were killed by Lord Ramchandra. And then in their third birth, they appeared as Shishupal and Dantavakra, and again they were killed by Lord Krishna. So these are the three births. But because of their service, Lord became so pleased that they appeared in Chaitanya Leela as Jagai and Madhai. So they are also glorified that way. That they were initially born in Brahmin family but were constables and they were performing all kinds of sins. They would actually open the scriptures and find what's the most sinful action and they would perform that. They were so sinful. But by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, they were able to take to devotional service. So it was Lord Nityananda who is Adi Guru. So again, that's why we get this instruction that we have to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession. When we talk about disciplic successions, we're talking of parampara. And this parampara, there are actually four lineages, in disciplic succession. One is coming from Lord Shiva, Rudra Sampradaya. So these Sampradayas, the disciplic succession, one is called Rudra Sampradaya coming from Lord Shiva. Second one is Śrī Nṛsiṁhadeva coming from Goddess Lakshmi. Third one is Kumara Sampradaya coming from the four Kumaras. And the fifth one is Brahma Sampradaya coming from Lord Brahma. So there are a total of 4 Sampradayas. So the spiritual master we take shelter of must appear in one of the Sampradayas and must be teaching us in the spiritual science that's been coming in that disciplic succession. And we are so fortunate that in Brahma Sampradaya we get the ripened fruit of Vedic literature, Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and which we relish reading, hearing and chanting. Hare Krishna. And in this pastime where Hiranyakashipu has caught Prahlad Maharaj and he is angry, showing his anger that how could he be so, even the Prahlad Maharaj is gentle. To Hiranyakashipu, he seems to be defying Hiranyakashipu's position. And to Hiranyakashipu it appears like he's taking his enemy's side. And when Hiranyakashipu had gone searching for Lord Vishnu, at that time Lord simply, entered in his heart. So as Paramatma is sitting in his heart completely, fearlessly, while Hiranyakashipu is looking outside. So sometimes this happens to us. When we are so much driven by sense gratification, we are trying to seek happiness outside, not realizing that actually happiness is inside, not outside. And it comes simply by chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's why Srila Prabhupada always said, chant and be happy. So here Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, where is Vishnu? Because he wants to find Lord Vishnu, because he wants to kill Lord Vishnu. That, he's trying to kill someone who cannot be killed. So that's another bewilderment. He's thinking that he's so powerful. And Prahlad says he's everywhere. Hiranyakashipu at that time looks at the pillar and says, is he in this pillar? Prahlad says, yes, he's in the pillar. And hearing Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu is angry. He picks up his sword and punches, he puts his fist on the pillar and he's about to kill Prahlad Maharaj. And Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva appears from the pillar. So there is this tumultuous sound that appears. And Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva appears from the pillar. And Hiranyakashipu, he's looking at this amazing, first, the sound is so tumultuous that people are feeling that all the three words are getting annihilated. And everyone's trying to find the source. And Hiranyakashipu is looking here and there, where's this sound coming from? And the pillar breaks away, into pieces. And Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva in his gigantic form with red eyes and ferocious lion face, half human, half animal, he appears. So he is appearing during the daytime. And Hiranyakashipu first becomes fearful, he's afraid. And then he realizes, oh, Lord Vishnu has taken this form. And seeing that this is none other than Lord Vishnu, he takes out his sword and he jumps with great vigor to fight with Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. And it is described by Srila Prabhupada that it appears just like a small moth is attracted by light and is completely absorbed. So when he attacks Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, he is almost lost in that effulgence. And they are fighting. And finally, during the dusk time, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva lays it down on his lap. So it's neither day nor night. He uses his nails to peer Hiranyakashipu's stomach. And Hiranyakashipu is killed. So he is at the doorstep. So he is neither inside the house nor outside the house. And he has not been killed by any of the weapons, whether thrown or held. So all those conditions are being met. And Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is still angry. So just with the tip of his nails, he kills all the other associates of Hiranyakashipu, all the other Jivas. And the demigods gather, the Kinnaras gather, the residents of Naga Lokas, they come. The residents of Gandharva Lokas are coming. The residents of Siddha Lokas are coming. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Devashinath, all of them are there. Indra is there. The various demigods are there. And all of them, it is very nicely described, they glorify Lord. Praying to the Lord so that Lord may feel pacified. And among these, there are two doorkeepers from Vaikuntha also there, Nanda and Sunanda. So after all these personalities have narrated as how bad, Hiranyakashipu was, Nanda Sunanda defeat all their arguments when they say that, oh Lord, you are so merciful, that Jai Vijay, the doorkeepers who had committed offense for stopping the four Brahmanas, you have finally delivered them in the very first birth. So they were, these two demons that we hear, were always under the influence of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. And that's why they were so glorious. They were able to perform such Herculean tasks and perform such great austerities. Because they were great devotees of the Lord. They were the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. And after they took finally, birth as Jagai Madhai, they were able to actually enter as Manjaris in Golok Vrindavan. So that's also very interesting, Janguli Manjari and Nandini Manjari. So those two Manjaris are none other than Jai and Vijay. So when people hear this, they are surprised. Wait a minute, we thought that these are demons. But these are actually, under the influence of Yoga Maya, these are the great devotees of the Lord who had been cursed. And so for the pleasure of Lord, they come and they get to fight with Lord. And it is said that when this fight is happening, when they are fighting with Lord, when Hiranyaksha is fighting with Varahadev, the sweat appears on the forehead of Lord Brahma. Because to him it appears that Hiranyaksha is going to be victorious. And then all of a sudden, in one stroke with his tusks, Lord Varahadev penetrates the chest of Hiranyaksha, killing him. And similarly, here, Hiranyakashipu has taken such a boon that he is almost like immortal. He cannot be killed with all these conditions. Yet Lord finds a way that he is able to kill. And then, after seeing that nobody can satisfy Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, Lord Brahma approaches Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing close by, and he says that, "Oh my dear Prahlad, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva seems to be very angry with your father. So please try to pacify him." And this is the chapter where Prahlad Maharaj pacifies the Lord with prayers, Vandanam. So it's not that he's just doing Smaranam. He's engaging in all varieties of devotional services. He's singing the glories when he is teaching his schoolmates about the glories of Lord Krishna. He's constantly meditating. He's constantly remembering. Just in the mother's womb, he was listening to the glories of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna in Narad Ashram. So in the ashram where Devashi Narad had taken Kayadu after the demigods had attacked the kingdom of Hiranyakashipu, and when they were taking Kayadu, thinking that in her womb is another demon about to take birth, they wanted to kill the baby in her womb. And the time Devashi Narad came and said, "No, this is not a demon, this is a great devotee of the Lord." And so they actually circumambulated and paid obeisances to Kayadu and to her womb. And then they left. And Kayadu was taken to be properly protected in the absence of Hiranyakashipu to Devashi Narad's ashram, which was in Vrindavan area. So that's another, bringing back to Vrindavan. And here, in this ashram, for this small time where Devashi Narad was staying in this ashram, he has written scriptures, and there he was singing the glories of Lord Krishna, and these glories were heard by Prahlad Maharaj in the womb of his mother, just like Abhimanyu heard in the womb of his mother how to penetrate through the Chakravyuh, right? And just like Shukdev Goswami in his mother's womb heard full of Śrīmad Bhagavatam from Vyasdev, from his father. Just like that in the womb. So it is highly recommended for ladies who are expecting children, who are pregnant, to read Śrīmad Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita, read Chaitanya Charitamrita, because when you read about these great qualities of the devotees, you become, your womb becomes pure and pure. Even there is a Garbhadhan Samskar that is performed, where devotees, they chant a minimum number of rounds before they seek to invite a pure soul. So now this is very interesting. How is it possible that Prahlad Maharaj, at the time that Hiranyakashipu was with his wife, came into the womb of Kayadu? So it is very nicely described that Hiranyakashipu, after he had received this boon, he came back and he talked to his spiritual master, Shukracharya. Shukracharya said, "Oh, you have been tricked. Now you should go and worship Lord Shiva, because he is very bhola, right? Ashutosh. She is very easily pleased and very easily angered. So you should please him and try to get the boon of immortality." So he is praying and he is singing Om Namah Shivaya. And at that time, two of the great personalities, Angira and Narada, they come as birds and they are singing Vishnu, 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 Vishnu. So they are singing glories of the holy name. And so they are constantly chanting Lord's name, and he is disturbed because of this. So his concentration is not there. He's not able to concentrate. So he gives up that austerity and he returns. And when Kayadu is asking what happened, he's talking about that there were these two birds and they were calling Lord Vishnu's name. So I could not, fully. But when he is with his wife, he's calling out Lord's name, and that's why Prahlad enters the womb. Now, Prahlad Maharaj asked Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, he inquires, this is given in Brihad Nṛsiṁha Puran. Brihad Nṛsiṁha Puran is described that Prahlad Maharaj had this desire that how was he able to become a devotee? How was he able to, even though he was born as a son of a demon, Hiranyakashipu, who was the greatest of demons at that time, and a very powerful demon. how was it that he was able to take to devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of Supreme Personality of Godhead? So at that time, Nṛsiṁhadeva reveals to him that, long time back, once there was a Brahmin by the name Vishnu Sharma, and he had his wife Shushila. In the womb of his wife Shushila, who was very austere and her glories were spread in the 3 worlds, she was very chaste woman, and in her womb he begot 5 sons. So the first 4 sons, they were very well-mannered, well-educated, very obedient to their parents and so forth. However, the 5th one was Prahlad Maharaj. So this is the living entity, soul, right? So Prahlad Maharaj was the 5th son, and he had become attracted to a prostitute. And so he lost all his virtues, he lost all his austerity, he lost all his character in association with this prostitute. And it once so happened that Prahlad Maharaj and this prostitute had a conflict. So they basically had a quarrel over something. And they were at a temple of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. Now I'll reveal to you how could there be a temple of Nṛsiṁhadeva in the previous birth of Prahlad Maharaj, while Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is appearing in the presence of Prahlad Maharaj, as described. So Nṛsiṁhadeva, he appears millennium after millennium in different forms. There are descriptions given in Puranas where Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, when he appeared previously, he is appearing in red form. And this time Hiranyakashipu forgot to ask that he cannot be killed inside or outside the house. So Nṛsiṁhadeva picks up Hiranyakashipu and kills while sitting on his throne. And thus he is killing. Another pastime, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is appearing all white. And as he is approaching, he kills Hiranyakashipu, and he is so angry that no one is able to satisfy. And that time Lord Shiva decides to take form of the gigantic bird that can devour lions. And in this bird form is approaching Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. And Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva with his glance burns the bird to ashes. So many times Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva appears, millennium after millennium. So this is a pastime that continues to occur with different variations. So here Prahlad Maharaj in his previous birth was named Vasudeva. Not the same Vasudeva as Krishna's father, who is husband of Devaki. He is known as Vasudeva as son of Vasu Sharma, the youngest son, the 5th son of Vasu Sharma and Shushila. And so he had this quarrel with this prostitute. And then they happened to be at temple of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. So they cleaned up the temple unknowingly, and they did not eat anything. And because they were angry with each other, they continued to fast, and they were awake all night. And it just so happens that that day happened to be Śrī Nṛsiṁha Chaturdaśī. So Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva reveals to Prahlad Maharaj that because he fasted unknowingly on that day and did not sleep all night, he and that prostitute got this wonderful boon that Prahlad Maharaj is able to take birth as devotee, while that prostitute took birth in the heavenly planets as Apsara, and she enjoyed her lifetime as Apsara and became favorite of Lord Vishnu and was able to go back home, back to Godhead. And here Prahlad Maharaj, hearing this, he is realizing that Lord is so merciful that even unknowingly Agya Sukriti can give such a great boon that one can become devotee of the Lord, and not just a normal devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord, a pure exalted Vaishnava. So here in this pastime, when Prahlad Maharaj starts reciting prayers and he's singing these prayers, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, his heart's melting. And when Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva places his hand on Prahlad Maharaj, when Prahlad Maharaj initially approaches Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, Prahlad Maharaj is glorifying. So again, he's glorifying his fortune state. He's not saying I'm most fortunate, he's just saying I'm so fortunate that I have been able, you have placed your head on my head, while you have not placed your hand on the head of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and even Goddess Lakshmi, who is constantly serving your lotus feet. So in this manner, Prahlad Maharaj is glorifying. And Nṛsiṁhadev is pacified, and he asks Prahlad, what do you want, right? He is asking, and at that time Prahlad Maharaj, in a humble mood, not in a challenging mood, in a very humble mood, he is revealing in a very gentle manner, in a very submissive manner, he is saying that, my dear Lord, this is not a give and take relationship. This is a relationship of give only. So, this is a loving relationship, not a business trade. And at that time, when Lord insists, what does he ask? He's telling us devotees what kind of wishes we should have. So when Lord appears in front of us and says, ask me for a boon, sometimes a materialist, if he is asked, he will cover with his laundry list. I want a house by the sea, right? And I want 4 cars here, and a stay at home there, and a big balance, bank balance, and so forth. There is actually a song written on this. One of the devotees have written the song. How a materialist would, ask various things to enjoy this material world. That's not something to be, sought. So Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice story. There was this old lady, poor lady. She was carrying these bricks and stones at a construction site. That was her job. And it just so happened that she dropped her container carrying all these stones and bricks. They fell down. Lord Vishnu appeared in front of her, and he said, ask me for a boon. And what does she ask? Oh my Lord, just place this container filled with bricks and stones back on my head. So sometimes we need to be, ready. Srila Prabhupada is teaching us that we should ask for pure devotional service. Because that is something that we are always seeking to develop. And when we develop pure devotional service and we serve Lord, in that mood of just seeking the pleasure of Lordships, then we have an opportunity to be able to go back home, back to Godhead. And not suffer in this material world where there is danger at every step. Padam padam yatve padam natesham. So we want to get that supreme abode, param padam. And just with the boon of pure devotional service, we can cross over this material world, which reduces to the size of a hoofs, the calf's hoof, so hoof print.
Hoof print.
Yeah. So that way we can easily cross it over. So Prahlad Maharaj, when he hears, he is even more joyful, he is even more jubilant that Lord is so merciful. He is so merciful that he appears and protects his devotees. 3 qualities of Nṛsiṁhadev that are visible in these pastimes are basically that Lord Nṛsiṁhadev is Bhakta Vatsala. He is always there to protect the devotees. Second quality is that he is fulfilling all the desires of a devotee. And then the third quality is he is constantly making us fearless. He is driving away any fear that we have in our heart due to material conditions or spiritual conditions. Sometimes in devotional service also, devotees feel that it is very hard. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was, inquired, and this is Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he is saying that it is, he has to handle, these Indians who are so tricky sometimes. So he is complaining to Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan that I cannot manage these Indians. They are so tricky, they know how to go around different things. Right? And there was an interesting book I saw with one of my colleagues. It is Jugaad management, a new management theory that's called Jugaad. So it's very interesting that Indians are really good at it. When I say Indians, I'm just saying that people who are very intelligent, coming from our culture, and they are really, in this world, they know how to deal with others. So when he was expressing that, Srila Prabhupada smiled and said, yes, I am also an Indian, I have tricked you. I'm paraphrasing some of it. So he's telling, and he's like, Tamal Krishna Maharaj is surprised, but he smiles back when hearing. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, I have tricked you to take to the devotional service. Now you cannot escape. So it's very nice that Srila Prabhupada would make such a tense environment so light. Once he was in Japan, and house where the devotees were making Srila Prabhupada stay at night, he would turn on the kerosene lamp to continue to scribe to the dictogram and so forth Śrīmad Bhagavatam. So he was translating Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and because of the kerosene lamp that was provided, there was smoke in the room, and the walls in Japan are made up of water with like thin wooden strips holding them. So at that time the devotees immediately rushed to the landlord's home and asked him to find a solution. He provided another lamp, not much use, still smoke in the room, very hard to breathe even, and there was big stench was coming out from a nearby gutter that was not cleaned. So this Japanese landlord was very pious man. So when the devotees requested him again something to be done about this stench, because next day Srila Prabhupada was going to address an assembly of the neighborhood people and discuss glories of the Lord with them. So he was going to give a lecture and glorify lordships. And at that time, this pious Japanese landlord, he, realizing that no truck would come to clean up, he picked up a bucket and literally cleaned up the whole gutter himself so that the smell would subside. And that took care of it. So the devotees were very grateful for such a great soul who wanted to serve unknowingly Srila Prabhupada, because he saw that Srila Prabhupada is a great personality, he is a great saint. And so he himself took that job and did it. Next day, when Srila Prabhupada was preaching to a crowd of people, at that time the landlady, the wife of this Japanese landlord, she came and she was shouting Srila Prabhupada in Japanese. And as she was approaching closer and closer to the stage where Srila Prabhupada was sitting, the devotees were getting alarmed as what's going on, and she was really loud. And Srila Prabhupada, he stopped his lecture, he stopped reading his book, and he just stayed quiet. And when she stopped at that time, Srila Prabhupada slowly leaned to the microphone and said, "Japanese landlady," and just smiled, and everybody started laughing. And that diffused all her anger, and she quickly walked out from that assembly. So devotees are so merciful. In a gentle manner they can diffuse such situations so nicely. And it was in 1970 when San Francisco Rath Yatra was arranged. At that time, Black Panthers had made some threats that if your guru, if your spiritual master Srila Prabhupada comes to this Rath Yatra, we will attack him. And devotees were very much warned. So at that time, Srila Prabhupada, he told Brahmanand Maharaj, His Holiness Brahmanand Maharaj, that I want to go to attend Rath Yatra, and he was saying, no, Prabhupada, you should not go. Prabhupada said, no, I want to go, you must take me. And at that time, one of his devotees, I believe Vishnu Janaswami, His Holiness Vishnu Janaswami, so Srila Prabhupada taught him the Nṛsiṁhadeva prayers that we sing at the end of every program. It's a closure through seeking protection and glorifying Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. So he taught him and said that we should recite Nṛsiṁhadeva prayers for protection. So devotees especially, take shelter of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, because Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is Bhakta Vigna Vinashak. So he destroys the impediments in the path of devotees. That's why he is more glorified. And in Brahma Samhita we hear that Lord Ganesh, he worshipped Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, and so he was able to attain the power to remove the hindrances in the path of all living entities. So that's why he is also called Ganapati. Lord Mahadev, Lord Shiva, by performing fasting on Śrī Nṛsiṁhadeva Chaturdaśī, attains the power to destroy the material universe. And Lord Brahma attains the power to create in this material universe. So again, great powers are bestowed to devotees who observe full fasting on Nṛsiṁhadeva Chaturdaśī and stay awake all night chanting the glories of the Lord, hearing the glories of the Lord, and reading Śrīmad Bhagavatam and other bona fide scriptures. Śrīmad Bhagavatam is not different from Lord Krishna. So today we would like to also chant this mantra. It is a very powerful mantra. Please repeat after me. Śrī Nṛsiṁha,
Śrī Nṛsiṁha,
Jai Nṛsiṁha,
Jai Nṛsiṁha,
Jai Jai Nṛsiṁha,
Jai Jai Nṛsiṁha,
Prahladesha,
Prahladesha,
Jaya Padma,
Jai Padma,
Mukha Padma Bhringa.
Mukha Padma Bhringa.
So please recite with me. Śrī Nṛsiṁha, Jai Nṛsiṁha, Jai Jaya Nṛsiṁha, Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa. Śrī Nṛsiṁha, Jai Nṛsiṁha, Jaya Jaya Nṛsiṁha, Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa. Śrī Nṛsiṁha, Jai Nṛsiṁha, Jaya Jaya Nṛsiṁha, Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa. Word to word translation, word by word translation. Śrī Nṛsiṁha,
Śrī Nṛsiṁha,
Śrī Nṛsiṁha with Lakshmi.
Śrī Nṛsiṁha with Lakshmi,
Jai Nṛsiṁha.
Jai Nṛsiṁha.
All glories to Lord Nṛsiṁha.
All glories to Lord Nṛsiṁha.
Jai Jai.
Jai Jai.
Again and again glories.
Again and again glories.
Nṛsiṁha
Nṛsiṁha.
to Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva.
To Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva.
Prahlad Isha
Prahladesha.
to the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj.
To the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya.
Jaya.
All glories.
All glories.
Padma
Padma.
of the goddess of fortune.
Of the goddess of fortune.
Mukha Padma
Mukha Padma.
of the lotus-like face.
Of the lotus-like face.
Bhringa,
Bhringa.
the bee.
The bee.
Translation.
Translation.
All glories to Nṛsiṁhadev. All glories to Nṛsiṁhadev, who is the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj, and like a honeybee, is always engaged in beholding the lotus-like face of the goddess of fortune. And later on, when he went to Los Angeles, and again there, he taught the devotees, Srila Prabhupada taught the devotees the Nṛsiṁhadev prayers. So please join us in reciting Nṛsiṁhadev prayers, and in the same mood as Prahlad Maharaj, with humility, compassion and love. Let's recite these prayers. Namaste Nṛsiṁhaya, Namaste Nṛsiṁhaya, Prahlad Lad Daine, Prahlad Lad Daine, Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha, Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha, Shilakankanakhalaye, Shilakankanakhalaye, Ito Nṛsiṁha, Parato Nṛsiṁha, Ito Nṛsiṁha, Parato Nṛsiṁha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nṛsiṁha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nṛsiṁha, Jai Nṛsiṁha, Jai Nṛsiṁha, Jai Nṛsiṁha, Jai Nṛsiṁha, Nṛsiṁhamadim Sharanam Prapadye, Nṛsiṁhamadim Sharanam Prapadye, Tavatar Kamalavare Nakham Adbhuta Shingham, Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bhringa, Keshavadhita Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Nṛsiṁhadev, 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 Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. वट्टवी विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।